Hello. So let me bring the presentation. Just 1 second. Okay. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here today? Good. So today you're going to present exercising. What does that mean, exercising? Workout. Workout, right? So it's an exercising for the heart, for the mind, and the soul. And the idea is after this presentation, you're going to have a start to continue this exercise with you. Okay? Because that's the idea. Let's learn about forgiveness. Who of you here can raise a hand and say, I know everything about forgiveness? Not so good, right? So let's think about what is forgiveness. And that's the beauty of the Spiritism, if this thing work, right? This thing is not working. Come on. I'm going to stay close to here because unfortunately it's not working. Okay, but maybe I can use the click of the mouse. Let's see. Maybe it will work. Okay, so the idea today, is as I said, it's an exercise, right? I'm going to give you a paper to each of you, and Tim will provide a pen. So during the presentation, during the discussions here, I'm going to present some quiz, pop quiz, right? If you are right, make a point, so don't cheat. And at the end, let's see who's going to be the winner, who's going to be the one who knows better about forgiveness. And that will be a prize, right? So just take one paper, distribute. Rudy, please. And so that's the beauty of the Spiritism, right? The beauty of the Spiritism is to learn how the things happen around us. Let's read together here. We work, the Spiritism here, to give faith for those who believe in nothing, to spread a belief that makes them better for one another. Look at that phrase here. That teaches them to forgive their enemies. Right? Forgive their enemies. Is this hard? Forgive the enemies is pretty hard, right? Right? But let's learn that this is so hard. So let's try to work on that thing. Because look at that. How updated is this phrase here? To look to each other as brothers, regardless of race, caste, sex, color, political, or religious opinion. This was written in February 1863, 160 years back, right? It's very, very updated. So that's the beauty here. So today we are gonna learn about forgiveness, right? Everybody has a paper and a pen, so be prepared. The quiz will be a pop-up quiz. I'm gonna present a quiz. If you know the answer, mark as right. If you don't know the answer, don't mark anything. Oh, it's working, see? References for today. So if you talk about forgiveness, we've got tons of references, tons, thousands, whatever you want. But let's concentrate on the 3 ones from Kardec. The Spirit's book, where he presents the context of forgiveness, where forgiveness is in place to our soul. Gospel according to Spiritism, mainly 2 chapters, chapter 15 and chapter 10. Kardec present a good approach to forgive, right? against the moral laws. Heaven and hell. This is not a quiz right now. Heaven and hell. Why we have heaven and hell here to talk about forgiveness? Why? Heaven and hell. What does that mean to forgiveness?
So many stories.
Exactly. That's the best way to learn about forgiveness, is to learn from others' experience, right? And in this book, we've got a lot of experience from spirits suffering, spirits like us, average spirits. So let's learn from them. In these 3 books here, first quiz. Let's see who's gonna make the right answer on that thing. How many times Kardec in these 3 books present the word forgiveness or to forgive? How many times? Present a number. I'm going to give you 3 options, right? Something between 100 and 200, something between 200 and 300, something between 300 and 1,000. Option 1, 2, or 3. Something between 100 and 200, 200 and 300, 300 and 1,000. Time ticking, done. The answer is 120 something. Right? It's not 1,000, but it's too much. That means the importance of that word. Right? 100 and something in 3 books, it's too much. So, how many of you make the right choice? None. 0. Wow. Let's move ahead. Okay. Yeah, it's a quiz. Self-discovery. That's very important for forgiveness. Why? Why it's so important to forgive? Why? Because we need to know ourselves. It's self-forgiven. I'm going to show you here. That's the starting point to the forgiveness, is self-forgiveness. Important book, right? 4 books, so no excuses for us to move forward. Okay? Let's warm up with the subject and let's listen this music here. I hope that most of you know this music, right? From Beatles, George Harrison. And there will be a quiz right after this music. Harrison. In '69, it's in the Abbey Road album from Beatles. And this music reduced the waves. Yeah, that's right. The music was written in a very dramatic period of the band. They were discussing it to each other, so forgiveness is not something that they would like to put on the table. And George Harrison wrote this music here, right? And a question here, quiz. Why Here Comes the Sun? Why?
Better times are coming.
Sorry?
Better times are coming.
Better times are coming. Right. Mark a point for you. That's exactly. But why better times are coming? It's a warm-up for today. Why better times are coming? Look at the music. I feel that ice is slowly melting. They are breaking those tensions and playing the forgiveness. But unfortunately, the band separated, split it in a year after that music. After, I think 2 years after this music, they split it. But George Harrison here was inviting the band to come to a forgiveness. And Here Comes the Sun. It's exactly every day we've got the chance to forgive. The day is coming to all of us. Every day. We don't perceive that thing sometimes. We don't look to the window, we don't look outside. But the sun is coming. The sun is coming to what? To show us that every day is an opportunity to forgive. Right? That's what George Harrison put here. Are we all in? 1 point for him. Okay. Practical examples of forgiveness. This book right here. So I'd like to talk about this book. Once again, let me ask this question, because I'm asking, but I think people is not reading, is not paying attention maybe. How many of you have read this book? 20% only.
I just now started it.
Okay, good excuse. 20% only. So for the ones, because I'm going to ask a question about this book. So if you don't read this book, so you're not going to receive a point, probably. A good example of forgiveness in this book. Oh, Rich, come on.
That was when Saul realized that he had to forgive himself as well as forgive all of the Pharisees for what they were doing in persecuting Christians.
Yes, I'm going to give you half point, but this is not the strongest one in this book.
When Stephen was being killed.
Exactly.
But then you don't need to read the book, it's also in the scriptures.
It's in the scriptures, but the book will give that thing. But if you know the story about Stephen, right? Stephen was sent to death, and during his death, he was forgiving the people who judged him. Yes, Paul, Saul of the Tarsus, was exactly one of them, the main one, by the way, right? And then Stephen is the good example of a forgiven. And what is amazing, what is amazing that Pope Francis mentioned exactly that thing in December 26th, right after Christmas. He mentioned, he called all the people, all the Christian people in the world, to learn from Stephen, to forgive always. You know, Stephen was in the death penalty. He was being killed. And he was forgiving the others. Forgiveness widens the heart, generates sharing, gives serenity and peace. Stephen showed us the road to take in interpersonal relationships in the family, in the places of education and work, everywhere. There is no excuse to apply the forgiveness. No excuse, right? It's difficult, it's hard, but you need to work on that thing. The logic of forgiveness and mercy is always victorious and opens horizons of hope. Is always, always. If it's always, it's a win-win. Why we cannot play a win-win situation? Right? Beauty, right? Beautiful. Right? Let's read the book. After this thing, let's read the book. Let's read the book. Let me hear. Okay. Okay, good. Come on. Another example here. John Paul II and Ali Agha. This is in December 83. 2 years before, Ali Agha tried to kill him. Right? 2 years after that, John Paul II went to the prison, talked to him, and expressed the forgiveness to him. Look at that. This guy tried to kill the Pope. And the Pope taught the world how to forgive. And the Pope, oh, come on. That's right. So in response to the attack he suffered in 81, he said that. Right? John Paul II and Ali Agha. Keep that in mind. And do you know what was the first thing that Ali Agha did after he left the prison? It's not a quiz. I'm just asking if someone knows the story about that. The first thing that he did, he went to the cemetery where the Pope was buried. The Pope was dead at the time that he left the prison. He went there the first time that he left the prison just to say a prayer to the Pope and express his gratitude for the teachings that he provided to him. And the basics of that thing is forgiveness. Right? No quiz yet. Makes sense? Those examples? Practical, real examples. Is it difficult to perform? Maybe, but we need to practice. Right? Look at that. Pray for his brother of mine, whom I sincerely forgave. He said that thing the next day that he was shot. The next day he said that. He was inviting the people. Look at that. Pray for him. Because I forgave him. Understanding the forgiveness. First quiz. Not the first quiz of this slide. Forgiveness has 3 pillars. 3 pillars. Starts with B, I, and P or F. 3 pillars of forgiveness. Forgiveness does not work alone. Forgiveness works with 2 other pillars, and they will form charity. What are the 3 pillars of charity? Exactly. 3 pillars. 3 pillars. Benevolence, indulgence, and forgiveness. What is benevolence? Benevolence is to be good to each other, right? To be good. So a material charity, it's just part of the charity. Because the charity is benevolence, to be good to everyone. I'm not going to give you points because you know that thing. I know that you know that. Yeah. Indulgence. Indulgence. This word came from Italian. Indulgere, being sweet. Treat the others. So, be tolerant for others' imperfections. Right? Don't gossip. Don't play jokes with others, unnecessary jokes with others. Right? Benevolence and indulgence. And the third one. The third one is forgiveness for any offense, for any debit. So when you talk about charity, charity Usually you will think in donating something, right? Most of donating. That is the easiest one. When we talk about charity, charity is benevolence, indulgence, and forgiveness. We need to practice all of the 3 pillars of charity. And it's written here, without charity there is no salvation. If you want to go deeper, chapter 15 of the Spirit's book. Any questions here? No? Let's move forward and a quiz. A quiz. What are the 3 pillars of charity? 3 pillars of charity. 3 pillars of charity. What are the 3 pillars of charity? Come on. 1 point to all of you. Let's mark 1 point, because I hear that everybody captured that message. So put a point. It's a bonus point, right? Okay, understanding forgiveness. The best way to understand forgiveness is to come to the root. If you go to the root, what the word means, right? What the word means. Forgive, a synonym is pardon, right? I beg your pardon, right? Forgiveness is the same thing. Pardon is coming from Latin. It means perdonare, right? What does, okay, Marcio, okay, fine, perdonare. What does that mean, perdonare? Let's say what per means. The prefix per means total, completeness, maximum proportion. It's a huge effort, right? Okay? Maximum proportion. And donare, what does that mean, donare? Donare means given. Given, deliver, donate. So if we merge those 2 sentences, means what? Given in a maximum proportion, which means an effort. That's the reason we need to work out. We need to work out because it's a maximum effort. It's a maximum donation. And when we come to the English, come on. Oops. In English, per means was replaced by for. And donate, give, given. So if you understand this basic, right? Maximum proportion to donate, to give. That's forgiven. It's an effort. We know that. And the dictionary meaning is related to what? This is a more material. It's not for the spiritual meaning, right? If you go to a dictionary, tell me what forgiveness means. It's excusing of an offense, excuse for a fault, absolve from consequence, absolve, excuse, forget. That's what we know about forgiveness. Forget. Forget about it. Forget about it. Is forgiveness just to forget? Quiz. Yes or no? Yeah, exactly. Not at all. 1 point for Peter. Peter is cheating because he knows the answer. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. Yeah. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. So because if you go to the material definition, it means forget about it. But in the spiritual, no, it's not. So what is the complement of that thing in the spiritual? Let's think about it. Come on. What would be not only to forget, but come on. It's not a quiz yet. Is to understand. Right? Is to forget, but you need to understand. Understand means understand the cause, because the offense, the debit, is a consequence, is an effect. What is the cause? That's what we need to investigate. If we investigate, we understand that we all are in constant evolution. We understand that the others are in process, not only the others, all of us, are in process of a moral evolution. So if we are in process of development, we are going to make mistakes. Right? Understand that everyone is susceptible to mistakes. So it's not only to forget, because forget, but we don't forget. We keep that thing inside of us. It's tough to forget, but it's not so difficult to understand the cause. And if we treat the cause, we can understand the effect. And then the forgiveness will be much simplified. Right? It's a practice. It's a practice. Make sense? Understand that not judging, that's an important thing. Jesus brought that thing to us. Don't judge, right? It's also an act of charity and forgiveness. Make sense? Right? Can someone give me an example? Most of you know the Jesus history. A story that he was presenting to not judge. And make it in a practical sense. Which one?
When they were going to stone the woman for adultery.
A point to reach. Exactly this one. Did anybody hear that? If you don't hear, I'm going to show you the film. Then you're going to memorize this message from Christ, from Jesus. But pay attention from the beginning. Right? Rafael, the sound, okay?
Ye have heard that it hath been said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you that ye resist not evil. For whosoever shall smite thee on thy right cheek,
Master, this woman was taken in adultery, in the very act. Now Moses, in the law, commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? What sayest thou?
he that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone at her. Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more.
Beautiful, this message here. So just for us to keep in mind that don't judge because we are not capable to do so. I'm not saying about the material judgment made by the lawyers and so. I'm saying about the spiritual judgment, right? That's what Jesus presented here. So I hope that everyone pay attention to this film. Quiz. What Jesus was saying in the beginning of the film. He was also saying something that is very important about this. Rich.
Talking about if you strike me on my right cheek, that I will turn my left.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
If you strike me on the right cheek, I will turn and allow you to strike me on the left. I will not retaliate.
Yeah, he was mentioning about the talion, saying that
Knife for a knife.
exactly, a knife for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, right? That's not the way that he was presenting. He said that it's not wrong, it's not right. So he was preparing the people for the forgiveness. Don't play eye for eye and a tooth for a tooth. And right after that, he presented the example of this woman. Right? Makes sense? First, learning about this exercise. Forgiveness is not only to forget, but to understand and don't judge. Let's move forward. Point to Rich. We need to learn from the spirits, right? Let's learn from them what they brought to us. This message came, Kardec, in this book, Heaven and Hell. He brought spirits to present their vision from the spiritual world, right? There's a lot of messages and answers that they provide to Kardec at that time, and Kardec compiled those messages into this book. So let's learn from them. The first one is from an average spirit. So average. Average one means like most of the spirits. It's not a suffering one, but it's not a happy one. It's an average one. And look at the message that the spirit Joseph Bray brought to us. The honest man, the fair man. He must be patient and kind to those who attack him. He must forgive. He's not saying that, oh, maybe you can forgive. No. He must forgive from the bottom of his soul. It should came from inside, right? It should come from here. Not just to show I forgave him. No. Just to show to the others. No, it should come from inside. Without effort, it should be spontaneous. To be spontaneous, we need to practice. If we don't practice, it's not going to be spontaneous. Without effort, and above all, without display to anyone who offends him. Pretty short. So it's a spirit. This message came from a friend of us. A spirit, a very friendly one, who gave that message to us. Must forgive from the bottom of his soul. Right? And let's see a happy one. A happy spirit. He's happy in the other side. Look at the message that he gave to us. Not only I do forgive you, but even thank you. He said that think about the others who offended him. Look at that. Not only I do forgive you, but I even thank you. This is quite tough, right? It's hard. Forgive and express a gratitude to someone who offended you. But look at that. It's true, therefore, that I owe you a great part of the happiness I enjoy at the spiritual world. since you have given me the opportunity to forgive and pay for evil with good. Let's learn from that. Why not? Why not? Make sense? Good lesson here? Practical lesson? Practical one. Try to forgive and express thank you because you taught me something. I learned something from what you did to me. And look at that thing. The most difficult charity. Practice of the most difficult charity. That the last sentence here. That of loving enemies. Most, he's not saying that's easy. It's the most difficult charity. But it's a charity. And without the charity, it's a quiz. Without the charity, there is no a point to everyone. Right? Without the charity, there is no salvation.
Can you explain salvation?
Salvation is that you're going to reach a happy spirit like him. You're going to be happy in your future life.
Something that is important for everyone to understand that when he's saying happy spirit, it doesn't mean that it's somebody who is smiling and all happy on the other side, right? It's a spirit that belongs to a happy world where there is no more evil. So we are in a world of trial and expiation.
Yes.
Next time will be a regeneration world and then a happy world. So that is still very far from us. It's a reality
Exactly.
that is still hundreds, if not thousands of years away. So what that spirit is trying to explain is that because of the experiences I had when I was in a world of trials and expiations, when I was in a world of regeneration, today I am in this world. So that's why he's expressing gratitude, because if it weren't for the experiences of the past, he would not be what he is today.
Exactly. Makes sense? Very logic, right? Very, very logic. 2 points. 2 points. No, he saved me 5 minutes of explanation. I can save my time. 2 points. 2 points less, right? 2 points less. Okay. So, good example. Let's keep that thing in mind, right? No reason to not keep that thing in mind. Okay, developing. So, examples. What is forgiveness? Practical examples and so on. But how can we develop that? No, first step. Understand it's the basic. But the first step to develop is self-forgiveness, right? 1 point for Peter.
It's right here. You could ask what is the most difficult person to forgive above.
Yeah, okay. First step, self-forgiveness. What is self-forgiveness? It's to forgive yourself. Basic, understand. Let me understand what I did. Right? Let me understand what I did. So we understood the basic. The basic is to understand. Forget is so difficult, but to understand, it's an exercise. And look at what we've got in the Our Lord prayer, right? What Jesus told us: forgive us, Lord. Forgive us, Lord. Is Lord offended? Is God offended? No, because he understands that we are spirits in evolution. He is not offended. He's not offended. Look at that. He's not offended. Yeah. Actually, what he's saying here, it's forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. You are asking, Lord, help me to forgive myself. Because sometimes we cannot forgive ourselves. And if you don't know how to forgive yourself, how can you forgive others? It's like a drowning man. It's like a drowning man, right? If you try to save a drowning man and you don't know the way to save this drowning man, you're going to drown with this guy. Because you need to come from the back. You need to have a technique to save him. But if you don't know the technique, you're going to be drowned with this guy.
In 15 years doing fraternal counseling here, the question when we ask, do you have any problems of forgiving? The common answer is no. And then when we pump the question, what about yourself? Silence.
Yeah.
Completely silence.
Yeah, what Peter is saying is about when we make a fraternal counseling here, most of the questions we perceive, it's a self-blame. In the bottom, the self-blame is a self-forgiveness. Because we think about forgiving others, receive forgiveness from others, but we never think on forgiving ourselves. And that's the message here. Remember, God is not offended. He understands absolutely that we are in a moral evolution. So that's the message. Forgive us is, please God, help me to forgive myself. Make sense? Another example from the Heaven and Hell book. This spirit right here, the Palmyr, it's a very, very suffering spirit. Very, very suffering. And then Kardec, interacting with her, presented that thing. That's what's the first step to develop a self-forgiveness. It's through repentance, right? I understand what I did. I regret. I'm not going to do it again, right? You will obtain forgiveness. That's the message here, right? Basic. Let's understand. Forgiveness is inside charity, right? So we need to understand what is charity. The basics of forgiveness is to not only try to forget, it's quite hard, but to understand. And then, first step, self-forgiveness. Let's practice that. Let's practice that. Any questions here? Any questions? No? Moving forward. Joana de Angelis. She brought a lot of books about self-discovery, self-knowledge, understanding the psychology behind the soul, the integration between the soul and psychology, and look at what she presented about self-forgiveness. If we can summarize self-forgiveness here, look at that. It's a need to highlight the guilty. It's to put a light in the guilty. So we understand our guilty. But it does not imply believing that one has acted correctly. It's not insisting, oh, I did that thing, but no. If there is a but, it's wrong. Right? It's wrong. I did that thing, then you highlight the, okay, I understand, I regret. It means giving yourself an opportunity for interior growth. Look at that. That's the beauty of the self-forgiveness. You're going to grow. You're going to grow. Right? Win-win situation. To forgive is a win-win situation. If you try to forgive someone, as I said, I forgive you, but I would like you to do something. Forgiveness is unconditional. There's no conditional. You should give from the bottom of your heart and leave the other to decide whatever he wants to do or she wants to do. That's the basics of forgiveness. You're going to relieve a lot of tons from your shoulder when you forgive someone. Tons off your shoulder. Believe me. And look at the beauty of this message. Continue right here. Thanks for this understanding, it becomes easier for others to forgive. If we understand our guilty, if we understand that we are in a moral evolution, right? We can move forward. It's going to be easy for us to forgive another one. That's what I said. If you don't know a technique to save a drowning man, how can you forgive? If you don't know how to forget yourself, how can you forgive others? First step is to forgive yourself. Make sense here? Joana de Angelis? Always. Right? And it's when you start to read Joana de Angelis, it's in the beginning it's quite tough to depict messages like that, because she presents the stuff sometimes in a very directly way, but sometimes in a very complex way. You need to read once, twice, 3 times, 4 times to capture that thing. And this message here, thank God, it's directly to the point to make my life easier. Right? Because I capture that thing, look at that, that's self-forgiveness. That's the way we can exercise the self-forgiveness. Understand the guilty, right? Understand that we are not going to repeat that thing. So when God told the woman that go and sin no more, actually, he was not saying sin is something very strong. Actually, what does that mean? Go and don't make the same mistake again. Learn about your guilty and don't do the same mistake again. Basically, it's that, right? Moving forward, a quiz here. How many times we can give a chance to another one in forgiveness? How many times?
490.
Something like that. Too much. Something like that. Yeah. How many times? Okay, let's read that thing. That's the good thing. How many times you would like to be forgiven? As many times you want. Forever, right? Yeah. So there is no limit there is no limit. So let me give partial credits for her because she said 7 times something. Okay. Half points for her. Half points for her. Okay. You see here? There's no limit. That's a joke here, of course. And let's see what Jesus brought to us. It's 70 times 7. 70 times 7, which is about 490, which is almost 500, which is too much, right? In other words, 1 point for her. Huh? Yeah. It's cheating. 1 point for her. 1 point there. You see? 70 times 7. Right? It's too much. There's no limit. You forgive as many times as needed. Because this is going to be good for you. You're going to relieve your shoulders. I forgive you. Because you understand the situation. It's not because, okay, I forget. But
forgive someone, you are forgiving yourself.
Exactly.
You feel lighter and better.
Exactly. You can't forgive anyone.
When you behave with someone, you have time with yourself.
You capture the point. That's a message from Paul. I'm going to show at the end. Yeah. 2 points for her. 2 points. Can you mark 2 points? Okay. Rafael, the sound is on? Okay. So let's hear this message from God, from Jesus, and then we can memorize it better. Hope that it's not going to have a lag like the other one. Let's see if it's working.
Lord,
This is Peter talking to Jesus.
how oft shall my brother sin against me, and I forgive him? Till 7 times? I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him which owed him 10,000 talents. But for as much as he had not to pay, his lord commanded him to be sold. And his wife, and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. And the servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So, when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their lord all that was done. Then his lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt because thou desirest me. Shouldst not thou have also had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on thee? And his lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due unto him. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother that trespasses.
I'm so sorry about the lag. Okay, we are gonna fix with the technical guys, but this film presents exactly that message and how to forgive, right? No limits. Another message from Chico Xavier. Chico Xavier is one of the greatest medium in the last century, and he brought more than 500 books, messages from spirits. So the books are fantastic. One of the books is The Poem Stephen. Forgive now, today, and tomorrow unconditionally. That's the key word here. If you think on forgiving, saying, comma, but I would like you to forget. This is not forgiveness, right? Forgiving is unconditionally. And we need to understand that we've got our defects. We need to forgive ourselves. Make sense? Okay. So you made a spoiler because I was preparing a quiz exactly like that, but you answered the question. So you received 2 points. Look at this final message from Paul. Look at the first sentence here. Look at that. Forgiving enemies is asking forgiveness for yourself. Right? Forgiving enemies is asking forgiveness for yourself. To forgive a friend, that's important. How many friendships we are broken because sometimes it's a very silly stuff. It's to give them proof of your friendship. You don't care about them, but if they are going to forgive you or not, but forgive them. That's the opportunity. To forgive offenses, to show yourself that you're becoming better. So that's why you relieve the weights in your shoulders. When you forgive yourself, you forgive others. Who told that thing? Paul. Paul in the book that I mentioned in the very beginning. Right? So, let's count the points. Who has the most points here? Richard, but Richard is...
But you gave him the points, so...
How many points?
Now you pay the debt.
How many points? 3.5. You received more than that, right?
You got 2, 4, right?
4?
4? No, I think 2.
2? More than that.
Peter had 12.
Peter, are you going to give points to someone?
Yeah.
Give points to someone.
Peter gonna divide by 7.
There you go.
Okay. Okay, so the prize is the book, but I don't want to give to Rich because I would like to force someone.
Second best.
The second best. I would like to force someone to read the book.
I read 3 times already. The greatest book ever.
Did you read the book? Did you read the book?
Yes, of course.
Did you read the book?
Yes.
You want to read it again in English?
No, I never read.
Oh, you never read.
I will.
So it's a prize.
Thank you.
Okay? So for the other ones, let's try to read. Because I'm tired to ask every time who read that book, please. Bring questions about that. Okay? And for you, don't have excuse anymore to read the book. Oh, I don't have, no, you have the book. It's so thick, you see? So you know that Divaldo Franco is another medium in Brazil. He's fantastic. He is reading this book every year in December. He has 94 years old. Probably he has read this book for 70 times.
Thanks, Just kidding.
Okay, so I hope that you can continue this exercise of forgiveness. It's a workout, as I said. Thank you all. Thank you.